Okay, how's it going, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. Okay, well, so in today's episode, I thought I'd try to talk a little bit about a few of my favorite philosophers or thinkers, and why, personally, I think they're so great. And I'm going to be doing this chronologically, not in any particular order of importance. Okay, so the first one is the broad one, better known, of course, as Plato. Now, I say broad one because that's roughly what the name Plato translates as. Now, it's said that he may have been given this name because of his great physical girth. But you know what? It could equally apply, more aptly apply, to the enormous circumference of his ideas. I mean, I'd say that never before and since, maybe his student Aristotle is his only equal, but never before has any thinker covered so much intellectual terrain. His scope is truly stunning and mystifying. Okay, but here's the thing. I really love two things about Plato in particular. First of all, I love his idealism. And what I mean by that in this case is there is in almost all of his works a spirit to push beyond the way things are. Whether that's to push to become a better and deeper person, or to seek greater heights intellectually and spiritually. For Plato, things could always be better. There's a better you that needs to be realized. There's a better and higher love that needs to be reached. And there's a better place or future that needs cultivating. I always find that inspiring. And the second thing I really love about Plato is the medium of his message. What I mean by that is that he doesn't write prose or in boring essay style. No, he writes dialogues. And that's super interesting and suggestive. Because what it suggests is that philosophy for Plato is conversational. It begins in the marketplaces and at parties with real people with different ideas and different starting points and different personalities all getting into it. This is not philosophy from on high, from the pulpit. No, it's street philosophy. Now, I find that incredibly judicious about Plato, even if he does occasionally have his lofty and conservative moments. And actually, at times, Plato does such an impartial job with these dialogues and the characters that sometimes he puts into the mouth of a character incredibly persuasive views that he himself wouldn't agree with. Now that's incredible. It speaks to somebody who puts ideas and conversational exchange above himself. I don't know, maybe another way of expressing all this is that what makes Plato so great is that he's an absolute artist when it comes to doing philosophy. The dialogues, the characters, the setting, the mythological and poetical references, the whole form and the craftsmanship of these works, this is what makes him so forever fresh and stimulating and subversive. In our day of academic and philosophical rigidity and formalism, Plato offers the relief of ambiguity and interpretation and, well, dare I say it, inspiration and beauty. Okay, well, so the second thinker that I really love is, well, his own school wasn't too far from Plato's actually, and that is Epicurus. Now, I'm aware that Epicurus isn't as well known to most of us as Plato is. But, in my humble opinion, he should be. Not because of the breadth of his works, but actually sort of for the opposite reason. Because of the powerful simplicity and straightforwardness of his message. You see, in our contemporary age where there's a rampant and infinite consumption of luxury goods and where nothing is ever enough, Epicurus teaches us about the limits of desire and about the attainability of the simple and happy and anxiety-free life. He teaches us that we don't have to look very far for what we truly need. All around us, nature abounds with the resources necessary and sufficient for our well-being. Once we understand this, once we understand that it's the simple and readily available things that we can count on one hand that matter the most, then we'll have no desire for more, since more cannot give us anything that we do not already have. Imagine that. Imagine feeling totally complete and self-sufficient onto yourself. Amazing. Now this is a powerful message, one that can radically transform our lives and quell the tempest of our unnecessarily agitated soul. And I'd say that the other incredible thing about Epicurus is that he brings us back to our senses and to the pleasure that the sensory world affords. You see, for him, everything that makes up the cosmos, including ourselves, is ultimately just material. And so will, for that reason, very soon just break up and be destroyed. There is no immaterial soul for Epicurus, and there is no afterlife. We're physical and sensual beings through and through. Well, what better way to bring us back to the earth then, and bring us back to the primacy of our senses, our sense organs? What better way while we're alive to get us to appreciate the beauty of nature and the world around us? Really, I'd say that ultimately Epicurus's message is one that teaches gratitude. When we realize that life is narrowly confined between birth and death, we won't take the sweet colors and smells and tastes of life for granted anymore. And that's why I love Epicurus. Okay, well, so the third thinker that I really admire is the little pastor, as he was called in his youth, and the author of the dizzying and inexhaustible Thus Spoke Zarathustra. And I'm talking about the one and only Nietzsche, of course. Now, I'll keep this very short, but I guess the thing that stands out to me, and I say that only half truthfully because almost everything stands out to me about him, but the thing that maybe stands out the most is his counsel to us to really learn to love life as it is, in the here and now, and not wait for some better life to come. You see, for Nietzsche, when we live according to some transcendent future, we basically alienate ourselves from this life, from living in the present and on this earth. And this alienation keeps us away not just from the pulse, but also from the temporality of life. For Nietzsche, we have to affirm this life as much as possible, and that includes its great beauty, of course, but also its dark and its unintelligible character. The problem, though, is that for him, both philosophy, actually, and religion, at least historically, has taught us that the body and the senses and time and anything ephemeral and material is not as valuable as the immaterial and the eternal. But again, this comes at a detriment to our life, such as it is. No, real philosophy or real wisdom for Nietzsche is wisdom of the earth, or as Zarathustra says, real wisdom is tragic wisdom. The bottom line is that to be afraid of time and to be afraid of death is to be afraid of life. To really live, we must love, and to really love, that means not just accepting life as it is, but it also means throwing oneself wholeheartedly into the energy and the rhythms of the earth. Okay, well, the last thinker on my list is the French-Algerian writer, Albert Camus. So let me start by being completely honest first. I think that details withstanding, Camus' outlook is pretty much right. Whatever name we want to give it, I do think that we live in a kind of absurd world. That's to say, I do think, as Camus says, that there is no ultimate meaning, however much we want there to be one. I do think that our cries fall on deaf ears, or no ears at all, at least from a cosmic point of view. Now, this is tough to hear, but as Camus says, it does take courage to acknowledge it. Okay, but still, you might think that this sounds pretty pessimistic. You might think that Camus is some kind of nihilist. Well, if you think this, you'd be wrong. You see, what makes Camus so amazing to me is while he acknowledged the ultimate meaninglessness of things, there is absolutely nothing nihilistic about his larger view. No, for him, it's precisely because we're all alone on this planet without recourse to any larger transcendent hope that we must do what we can to help each other out. Maybe another way to put this is that we're all in the same boat together, united by a common humanity and a difficult situation that connects us all, namely our struggles and our finitude. Or to use Camus' words, our blood-drenched mathematics. So the point is that we have to act in solidarity and do what we can collectively to resist suffering. Actually, in a way, you might say that for Camus, it's through the very attempt to alleviate the suffering of others that we create a power or a force that helps to resist the meaninglessness of life. Now that force is love, real love, not abstract love. This is the kind of love that extends a real helping hand to our brothers and sisters in combating the inscrutable forces of life. It's the kind of love that enjoins us to hold hands with one another under an indifferent sky and to walk the path of sympathy and compassion. As Camus himself says, absurdity might be king, but love saves us from it. Bye for now.